Welcome back, a space where we discuss power scaling, feats, and cosmology. Today we discuss Saitama and what identifies as a no-limits fallacy. Be sure to like, share and subscribe. None of these characters have any significant feats. Saitama has a tendency of one-shotting opponents weaker than himself. The majority of these opponents aren't even planetary. One-shotting weaker opponents doesn't make you powerful, it just makes you superficial. I don't want tofu, I want ground beef. I don't want Macy's, I want Louis Vuitton. Saitama's power isn't authentic. Let's analyze this video by the amazing show to demonstrate how to identify a no-limits fallacy, and the commonplace arguments for Saitama.
Saitama is completely overpowered and can 1v1 almost any other powerhouse character and win, but it's not because of the reasons you'd normally think. The other night I came across a TikTok that was making the argument that Saitama would defeat Goku in a 1v1 battle, especially with the most recent drops in the One Punch Man manga that basically solidified Saitama as being completely overpowered. I won't go into the details of what happens in the manga since that would be major spoilers for people that only tune in for the anime, but that TikTok left me thinking about power scaling in general when it comes to the One Punch Man. Honestly, I think power scaling is a really fun topic if it's handled correctly, but unfortunately, fandoms usually can't handle these topics without either ignoring reason altogether or becoming completely toxic. In good faith, however, I'm hoping that this video is received by people who love talking about anime, their favorite characters, and One Punch Man just like myself. Even if you take Saitama and compare his feats with that of, let's say, Superman, and Superman comes out on top in terms of raw strength, speed, battle IQ, whatever, Saitama would still destroy Supes without even an ounce of kryptonite on him. However, I don't think it's a fair fight to begin with. This matchup isn't fair for Superman. In fact, it's almost like Saitama is cheating. Now, I don't mean that he's secretly shooting up steroids or in some way rigging the fight. In actuality, it has very little to do with the fighting or strength levels of the two at all. Ultimately, it comes down to the way that the characters are written in their own stories.
It has nothing to do with the writing or their stories, but it's about logic and identification. The whole purpose behind debating. Debating in general and not just power scaling is to convince one of a truth and not to make them laugh. We're not here for stand-up comedy, we're here for facts. That's why feats matter. Logic is a pattern and this pattern is bound by laws to stay consistent. Logic dictates truthfulness and truthfulness is equal to existence. So to deem yourself honest and logical you must acknowledge what exists. I'll further elaborate in the later half of the video.
Conflict is an extremely important linchpin in every great hero story, and without it, all we are left with is people standing around doing nothing. That really doesn't make for exciting movies or TV to watch. So a problem is introduced to give our protagonists something to do or a way to act. In the case of Goku or Superman, their problems usually lie within battling some kind of evil villain. More specifically, fighting a villain that is initially stronger than they are. As time goes on in the story or battle, our heroes have to find a way to overcome this uphill struggle. Whether it's through strategy, personal growth, or sheer force of will, they must adapt and defeat their foe. When their foe is defeated, there's a brief respite, but inevitably the same conflict returns in the form of a new, more powerful enemy. The cycle of strife repeats, because without it, there's no story. In contrast, we have Saitama, who's completely different than the other protagonists in hero stories, because his core conflict develops in a more nuanced way. As we all know, he yearns for an actual challenge, but he defeats every big bad guy in a single punch, leaving him frustrated and unsatisfied by the confrontation. The strife doesn't originate from the villain, but from Saitama's strength itself. Ultimately, it's usually written in this way to be comedic. I mean, his superhero name is literally Caped Baldy. Saitama is the comic relief of this intense action-filled world while still being the protagonist. The story often takes a bit of time setting up a villain, making the audience almost think to themselves that Saitama has finally found a proper match, only for him to easily win, subverting the expectations that were built up through the defeat of other heroes in the story.
The meaning of Saitama's character is a separate topic and is besides the point. Remember, logic is a pattern that dictates truthfulness and truthfulness is equal to existence. The law of inertia is that an object of matter will remain in a state of stasis until a force is applied to it. If I set down a cup of water, the cup of water will stay there for all of eternity until a force is enacted upon it. So me picking up a cup of water would count as a feat because it implies that I am stronger than insects, because an insect cannot affect a cup of water worth of matter. When I say a character is stronger than another, I mean they are affecting bigger amounts of matter and space. It exists that Goku and Superman are affecting bigger structures of matter and space than Saitama, so to say Saitama is stronger despite the law of inertia is appeasing to perception and not truth, because then the claim wouldn't be aligned with logic, since truth is equal to existence. All characters across fiction can affect matter and space some more than others. Saitama's setting only caps at multi-solar system to low galaxy because that's the biggest structure he's scaled to. Feats matter more than narrative perception because the purpose of debating is looking for truth and not the character's meaning, so by logic Saitama can be a gag character and would still lose, just like Deadpool getting one shot by Captain America or Pinkie Pie losing to Discord. Saitama fans haven't seen other settings, where a character doesn't need to punch you. A character doesn't to physically touch you because punching by itself a technical limit. Saitama is restrained to the rules of his setting. To punch someone in general requires inertia and mass. Saitama's power is bound by cause and effect as well. Saitama is bound by human biology like aging. Your character can't just be powerful, they have to be credible for their power to be valid.
Obviously, all of this is conjecture and just brought up for a bit of fun. If Superman or Goku or whoever is your favorite, I'm not trying to say that they're weak or anything negative whatsoever. I'm just not sure that it's fair to pit serious characters against characters that are built and formed for the sake of comedy. Because when comedic characters do some Deus Ex Machina stuff, it's played off as a joke and doesn't really lessen the story.
No ill will to the amazing show, I'm sure he's great. This video was only for demonstrative purposes. I think serious characters not only beat gag characters, but it exposes gag characters for their lack of complexity. Gag characters can be newcomer friendly, but it's not my style. Be sure to like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.